Bonjour, sparklers. Thank you for joining me today. I am your host, Kim Duff Selby, bringing you light, inspiration, and the most amazing guests. The universe has truly blessed me. And today I have Tara Marino, and you will know why I said bonjour when we get into our conversation. Tara is the founder and CEO of Elegant Femme. She is a French clothing designer, or was, I'm not sure you still do that. And she is a mentor for women. She helps them return to the truth of their souls. She helps us identify our soul-led focus. I love this so much. And she has programs and works with women in such a beautiful, unique way that I have not yet encountered with anyone else with whom I have spoken. And get ready to dive in, because the minute I opened her website, I felt like I was transported to Paris. Welcome, Tara. Thank you.
Goodness, Kim. Oh my goodness. It's really an honor to be here. I know you and I had a moment to chat before we were official, and I already love you. There's just isn't it extraordinary when the universe brings us together and we're like, "Oh yeah, I know you." I know you.
I don't know exactly who listens to this. I know some people believe how I believe, and some people probably don't, but I certainly believe that our souls chose, many of us chose to reconnect, whether it's for a moment or for a lifetime. And I really believe that. I have affirmation chills. We were meant to connect, to share your words, to connect however it was meant to be. And I'm grateful for that.
I am too. I am too. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm so excited. All right, before we begin and
Yes.
people a little bit about you and how you got started on this journey, I would love for you to share, how do you ignite your spark?
Ooh, such a beautiful question. Hmm, I feel like there's a nuance to how I ignite my spark each day in the way with which I'm choosing to express it. But the foundation for me on how I ignite my spark is deep listening to what is my soul seeking to experience. What season of life am I in? What's going to allow me to feel most alive? If it's lighting candles and making croissants, which is what I did for my husband and I this morning, or, sitting and reading with the sun on my face, it's that permission to really slow down and ask my soul, what is my soul seeking to experience? Ask my body, what does my body really truly require today? It's getting out of that idea of overly being structured and to really ask myself, what is it that makes me feel alive?
And it's wonderful that you give yourself permission to do so, because a lot of the time I have found in my past, I may have wanted what you just described, but said, no, no, pushed it back, pushed it back, pushed it back. Because so many women in particular, we feel we have to achieve, do, instead of be. And I love how you listen to your soul calling for that day in that time. Such wise words for everybody listening.
Yeah. I mean, I think, what you're saying is it's such a tempting energy, isn't it? This addiction to the doing, the performance, the achieving the results, especially towards the beginning of the year. There's overriding energy of, consciousness of like, what are you going to plan? What are you going to achieve this year? What are the results that are going to prove to you that you are XYZ, right? Successful, whatever it might be. And it's very, very tempting because the external world can give us a lot of accolades that our ego really loves. Like, oh, I did this, I made this much money, I did this thing. And it's not that any of those things are bad, but I have found for me, without the true resonance of where I'm residing inside of myself as I move through life, the results, the achievements, they don't mean the same thing. There's not a level of fulfillment. So instead of going into, what is that end result? For me, what's really supportive is, a beautiful life starts with a beautiful day. Am I on a daily basis moving through my life in a way that reflects to me my beauty, my truth? And that does not mean that every day is pretty. It doesn't mean that every emotion is pretty. There are days that are, like for all of us that are really intense, or that we want to be different. But if we can trust the unfolding of the commitment to, can I give myself permission to live into my beauty and truth no matter what, that's the game changer for me personally.
Mm. As we spoke about, I didn't know, and I still don't know where the conversation's leading us, but one thing that just came up that I felt was important is the word beauty,
Yeah.
because that has such different connotations throughout our lives. When you're little, you're not told, oh, you're a beautiful little girl. You're told, you're a cute little girl. Isn't she a pretty little thing? Beauty. And then there's that beauty is only skin deep, and you're an adolescent. And I'm talking to women because I believe most of my listeners are women. And you're prepubescent, and you certainly do not feel beautiful.
Mhm.
And then there's standards of beauty that are put upon us as we're teenagers, and 17 magazine came into your life and you're like, well, I don't look like that. Clearly, I'm not beautiful.
Mhm.
And I really think that the word beauty needs to be taken apart a little bit. What is your perception of beauty?
Mm. I love this conversation. So when I was a little girl, I was naturally drawn to beauty, to beautiful things, to my reflection of what I thought was beautiful. So as an example, I remember this so clearly. I think I must have been like 3 or 4, honestly, and we were at my grandma's for a Christmas party, and my mom had me in this red velvet dress, so cute, and underneath the dress, I was wearing white tights with ruffles on the butt. Well, for me, these tights were the everything of the everything, so I was going around the whole party showing everyone the tights, like, forget about the dress, "Look at the tights, they're so cute, look at the beauty," like, I loved it. I don't know what I was saying, but I was definitely showing. And I remember my perception of the reflection from people was, "Put your dress down. What are you like?" This was there was a feeling on me that I interpreted, excuse me, as like, this is shameful. Like, I shouldn't love this beautiful thing. This is there's something wrong. And I went through as a young girl judging myself for that, judging myself for the beautiful things that I loved, judging myself for the beautiful things I desired, judging myself for the way I wanted to feel beautiful moving through. So I would overcompensate once I got into junior high, high school. I'd overcompensate by people pleasing because I didn't want anyone to think I was selfish because I loved beauty. So I would go to the other extreme to try to balance this feeling inside of me. So I'll tell you what, quote, changed my life around beauty and gifted me such a level of freedom and liberation. Because, yes, I think that the majority of us feel safe in the beauty is only, right, the beauty, internal beauty is okay. Internal beauty is safe. Internal beauty makes you, you're good. But the external beauty can be challenging, I think. So
Mhm.
the quote that changed my life was a quote by John Keats. He says, "Beauty equals truth, and truth equals beauty. That is all ye on earth need to know."
Mhm.
So for me, beauty is whatever's authentic to us in our expression. It doesn't matter if it's a Celine handbag or a shell on the beach or a sunset or your child's hug or this expression of truth inside, this permission we can gift ourselves to feel that kind of sacredness of appreciating something that we find beautiful without any limits, no compartmentalization. It's not, okay, this is okay to be beautiful, but this isn't okay to be beautiful. It really is taking the training wheels off completely and trusting ourselves to commune with beauty.
Perfect. You gave me such an exquisite answer, because I was thinking of back reflecting on my life as you were saying that, because I love beauty. I love beauty. I mean, I'm a
A
beauty
Frenchie.
whore. Yes,
You are.
I love beautiful things. I love beautiful things in nature. I love beautiful homes. I love beautiful linens. I love beauty. And
Yeah.
I think we put that on ourselves as that's a bad thing. Oh, that's shallow. And, and these poor women who are, or men who are transgender, or women who are trans, who grow up saying, you're not beautiful, or you're not beautiful. That poor, their truth is beauty. Their beauty is in something else. So much lands around that. And my take is that you, through your work, are encouraging women to own their own beauty through whatever it is that you do. I mean, I know what you do a little bit, but before we continue on to that, because I'm not sure you know this, and most of my listeners know that I'm a fashionista. Fashion's my thing. It is.
I do. I was all over your Instagram. I'm like, oh, look at what she's wearing. Look at the jeans. Look at the thing. No, it's obvious,
And
Kim. It's obvious.
you're a fashion designer. Oh my gosh. Okay, but before that, I just feel we have to share your story. And I'm not sure when you designed, before the loss in your life or after, and how you had intended to spend your life. You were a young mother, and share, because it's all over your social media, it's all over your page, it's not a secret, but share that pivotal moment, because it's just so heart-wrenching.
I think when we opened up our time together before we went official, you said something to me that really resonated. You said that my story is remarkable. And for me, this is really how I feel about what I experienced from this vantage point, certainly in the midst of it. And so I want to preface this, that when I share this for everybody listening, we all don't have the same exact experience in our lives, but I really know that we all have experienced a feeling of loss, an ache, a grief, like that defining moment where we literally question life. We question our own life. Why am I here? How do I move on? Where do I go from here? So for me, that moment was when I had my firstborn son. And I want to say, like, from very young age, I was asking kind of esoteric questions of myself, like, what will I be? Like we all do. I mean, I think we all do, not only what will we be when we grow up, but like what did God want me to be? And I wanted to fulfill my life from a very young age. Like I would make my brothers and sisters little picture books and tell them how much I love them. I was very conscious of, like, please, I want to express my love and I want to live. I really do want to live fully. It was in me. And yet when I was younger, I associated that feeling with a little bit of burden. Like, I got to get it right. What's my passion? What's my purpose? Like, so when I got pregnant, I was like, oh, okay, God, it all makes sense. I'm going to be a mother. Okay, check my purpose. We're good. We're good. I feel so relieved. I know my purpose now. So as fate would have it, and learning would have it, and evolution would have it, my firstborn son passed away in my arms. And I was furious with God. I was furious with life. I hated myself. I hated my body. I hated life. Forget about even getting next to me if you were pregnant. Like I couldn't, I just, it was such a dark year for me. I mean, to be so vulnerable with you and the listeners and myself, like that year, I put myself to bed with Ambien, Xanax, a bottle of wine, whatever I could to get through that ache. And it was about a year, literally to the day, that my son Mason passed away, that I was sitting with paperwork from a lawyer where I could have filed a lawsuit. And I remember like screaming, like, why me? Why me? And in the, where, depending on where we ask the question from, we're going to get that answer. So my ego could find a bunch of reasons why I deserve to be punished, like a bunch. I had an abortion when I was 17 years old. All sorts of reason, right? It's like, that's why you, and so I'm like, okay, this is why I deserve this. And I heard this subtle voice say, stop asking why. Stop asking why, Tara, and start asking how. Like, how are you? Like, you're still here. How are you going to respond to this? Like, where are you going from here? And the most movement I could make in that moment really truly was like, how are you going to be a good mom to Mason? that was as far as I could get. Like, where are you going from here? And it was that moment that literally changed everything for me. That was the opening of the femme types. That was the opening of me even considering that I would trust myself to keep on living. I mean, it was that moment that changed everything and gifted me the courage little by little, right? I don't want to paint a picture for anybody that it was like, now we have a, 8-figure business. And this was a really deep devotional of day by day connecting with myself. And this is where the femme types were born. This was the voice of the indie that I heard initially. And from that point forward, I started journaling and asking God for guidance, for reflection. Show me what's mine. Where do I go from here? What is this that's being birthed through me? And that's why I do say it was remarkable. I thank Mason every day for the soul contract that we have. And, his birthday's actually coming up shortly. I don't know when this is all going to air, but his birthday is next week and my birthday's the following day. So every year it's quite impactful and intense to remember this defining moment. And like I said, we all have them. They all look different, but we all have those moments where, life can bring us to our knees and we decide how we're going to move forward from there. So that's how it all began.
Oh, what year was this?
2002.
And just so people know, you do have 2 boys.
I do. Now I have Dominic and I have Nicola. So we have Mason, Dominic, and Nico. Dominic's now almost 21 and Nico's 17. He's going to be 18. So yes, God blessed me with 2 gorgeous boys. And it was actually a wish that I had and a deep intention when Mason was passing away in my arms and I was saying goodbye to him. I did say, can you just please gift me a healthy brother or sister? Like he died from pneumonia in my arms.
Oh,
And I know that the mother I am today, the woman I am today, the wife I am today, the leader, the soul, like it's completely changed me.
of course, of
Yeah.
course. As you said, it's a soul contract for those of us who believe that
Yeah.
you both decided to do prior to choosing to incarnate at this time.
Mhm.
And it took you that year to recognize your gifts. Did you feel that they were channeled to you through your journaling? And did you automatically go into creating the femme types at that time? And because I'm such a fashionista, when did you do that fashion design? I looked up on you, I had to do it. I'm
I
like,
love it.
oh my gosh, are those your gowns that there's a little YouTube video in a Fashion Week 2014, I think. Like, I want to wear that, and I want to wear that, and I want to wear that. You have so
Yeah.
many. I mean, did those things intersect? I guess you being a fashion designer and also coming up with this remarkable program to help women.
Yeah. So I love this question and not a lot of people know, I don't think the true essence of this. So in the very beginning, I actually started sketching lingerie
Ooh.
with the femme types. And they weren't called the femme types in the beginning. It was just I have my indie, I have my Frenchie, I have my New Yorker. So how it began is I was journaling and I was feeling these like different parts of me coming through. And I would sketch lingerie and start to wear lingerie that had these different aspects or essences inside. So my indie was very calming. It was a lot of cashmere kind of feel, very soft. And I felt connected to my truth. I felt my beingness. I felt like that deep inner knowing that no matter what was happening, I was okay. And I called that aspect my indie.
Hmm.
And then I started playing with the Frenchie, right? This is like after my son died, I felt so disconnected from life. I really felt numb. I didn't associate with pleasure. I didn't even want to look at my body. I had a C-section scar. I had a freezer full of breast milk. I had been breastfeeding. Like I hated my body. So the essence of even just taking a shower, putting lip gloss on, like moving my body, I could feel my Frenchie coming alive. So my Frenchie expression would be lingerie, it was body image, it was relationships, and these started to develop over time. And then my New Yorker, which came a little bit later, it wasn't all like one afternoon, it was really this consistent conversation every day. There was a sense of power. There was a sense of prosperity. In the activation of my New Yorker actually started with creating a business plan for what was called the Pretty Panty line. It's just something like, can I create something in the world? So these were the basis of the Femme types. And I just started to interact with them every day. Like, am I honoring my indie? Am I honoring my Frenchie? Am I honoring my New Yorker? It was very simple, and it wasn't for anybody else but me.
Hmm.
And over time, other women started to ask me, well, what are you doing? Because not only are you not the same woman when Mason died, but you were not the same woman as even before you
Mm.
got pregnant with Mason. So what is actually going on? I started coaching women who had lost children naturally and just sharing with them. They would say, well, what are you doing? How are you moving through? And I'd say, oh, why have my femme, it wasn't my femme. I was calling the three women. I'm like, I have these women, I have the indie, Frenchie, New Yorker. They're known as the femme types now after years later. But, and they said, well, you have to share this with me. Tell me, how is this happening? What's happening? And then from there, I just started coaching women who had lost a sense of identity, who were feeling separate from their truth in any way. And that's really how it all started, all of it. I
Now,
mean, I sit here and when I say it, even I'm like, I cannot even, I can't even believe it myself, because it didn't come from a headspace. It wasn't some cool marketing plan. It was a deep, deep necessity for me to heal myself. And still to this day, now, what, 20 years later, I mean, Mason's gonna be 22, 20 years, 20 something years later, every day I connect with my femme types, every single day.
let's talk a little bit about the femme types, because I know, because I did the dig deep, when
Yes, you did the quiz.
I did my femme type assessment. And this is something that Tara has developed. Anybody can take it, and it gives you these three femme types that she has and the description of each of them. And my understanding is when they are all in balance is when we are really becoming the true expression of ourselves. And I mean, that's a tough thing to do, because we live life crazily up and down every single day. Why don't you talk a little bit at this point about the femme types and the programs and how you kind of work with women, because it's more than just determining your femme type.
Yes, absolutely. And I realize as well, I didn't answer your fashion question, so I promise I will. I promise I will circle around that, because yes, it does go hand in hand. Because for me, after working with myself and women over the years about the internal expression of the femme types, there's an external expression. So my fashion line in Paris was born with the external expression of the femme types, to actually bring the femme types to life, for us to be able to wear this connection externally. So yes.
And and we have to talk about you moving to Paris and living there for 7 years, and now you kind of live in the Outer Banks, but you're going back to Paris, and then you're going around the world with your family. You are just this cool, amazing human and an inspiration. All right, sorry. Let's talk about what you offer, because I'm not sure everyone understands the femme types and how they work to enhance our lives.
Yes. So the femme types, I feel like a beautiful way to explain them is like these pockets of power that we have access to as a woman. And we typically operate in one or maybe two. So if we slow down and we look at this, the indie femme type being the femme type that supports us with our being, that connection with the truth of who we are, that no matter what's happening externally, we can connect with our inner knowing, right? That beautiful opportunity that like that no matter what, we know we're going to be okay. It's that being essence. So this is the indie. The Frenchie has everything to do with enjoying, with pleasure, with body image, with relationships. The femme type, the Frenchie femme type is the one that the majority of the women put on the back burner. Like, okay, once my work is done, once I've checked off my to-do list, once I have proven to the rest of the world that it's okay for me to enjoy, then I will enjoy. The issue with this is that we know the work is never done. Right? Never ever. The to-do list is never complete. The work is never done. So instead of waiting for the work to be done, we actually prioritize the Frenchie femme type. And this really activates a feeling of being alive. As we talked about a little bit, so many women especially, and I'm sure men too, but so many women especially go through life with this kind of numb feeling, this distance. They're so used to putting everyone else first. They're so used to putting themselves on the back burner. They're so used to operating in this feeling of people pleasing that they disconnect from what it is that actually brings them pleasure. Not just physical pleasure, but pleasure. Like so many women will come to me and they will say, I don't even know what I want anymore. I've been so busy taking care of everyone else, like I don't even know what my desires are. So this is the Frenchie activation. And as far as the New Yorker, power, prosperity, really feeling into the alignment. And what's an interesting thing is that when I first was exploring these femme types for myself, and for years actually, up until 2 years ago, it was the indie is the being, the Frenchie is the enjoying, and the New Yorker was the doing. However, about 2 years ago, I was sitting with a private client in Portofino, and something like was coming through me, and I kept saying this word, and I was like, oh my gosh, the New Yorker's evolved completely, like my own understanding of her, because it's so easy to get stuck in the doing. And so the New Yorker full expression is not the doing, she's the allowing. And this is such a beautiful, really energy frequency for us to feel into as a woman. We're so used to the performance energy, to the hustle energy, to how do I do it? What do I need to do? Just tell me and I'll do it. And so riding on the essence and the foundation of allowing inside of the New Yorker really does open up a whole new level of freedom for us to then take the aligned action. So those are the femme types, the indie, the Frenchie, and the New Yorker, and that's how we operate inside of them. And it's not about, women will sometimes say to me, well, do I need like a 33.3% balance? This isn't the energy. It's not a stress. When women take the Femme Design Assessment, what it does is it highlights which Femme type you're predominantly operating in and gives you a really easy bird's eye view of, wow, these are the other two Femme types that have pockets of power that I'm not currently utilizing. So what does that look like for me to actually invite these other two femme types into my life and feel a level of support, right? For women, we have a hard time receiving support typically, and we do the same thing with the femme types. We'll operate in one and not receive the support of the other two.
It is such a unique concept. And as I'm listening to you and thinking back on my past, as I was sharing with you, I came out as indie was my primary type, and then New Yorker, and then Frenchie. However, I believe at different parts of our lives and different times of our lives, obviously, the percentages change
For sure.
where we are or how we're evolving. And
Mhm.
it reminds me, it brings to mind the Ayurvedic types, the doshas, how we
Mhm.
need to get them all in balance. Yes, we are primarily one, but to be a wholly integrated being, marrying all three. And I love this because it gives us the opportunity to take stock and play with it. And this is my take on it. I think I'm going to be more New Yorker today because I am going into this meeting and I want to wear my, yeah, balls to the walls hat and just get shit done. And then I may want to be the Frenchie and feeling a little more romantic and elegant and softer. And then the indie is where I lay today, knowing that there is always something around the corner that's great and wonderful, and a magic and a synchronicity, which to me today I found with you.
Mm.
And I just in the short time I researched you over the past few days, I could feel myself not changing, but
Mhm.
being aware, because we
Mm.
really want women to be aware of where they are and how they can positively move forward should they so desire to reach that beauty.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a gorgeous opportunity to feel into. Certainly, as you're saying, there will be opportunities that we move through. We're like, wow, I really desire to call on this particular femme type at this particular point for this reason. And yet also there's a flow throughout the day, right? We connect with them throughout the day. We have an essential structure for the modern woman where we move through indie energy in the morning, then Frenchie, then New Yorker energy, and then unwind from New Yorker, Frenchie, indie. It's this beautiful, authentic flow that allows us to utilize these aspects in a very, very natural way. So, for an example, the majority of women are waking up and grabbing their iPhone, responding to emails, wanting to get ahead of the day, and putting themselves actually what we would call in a faux New Yorker energy instead of a receiving energy, which is the indie femme type. Or after dinner, opening up their laptops, wanting to get just a little bit more work in at the end of the day, which then activates again a faux New Yorker instead of unwinding into the indie. So yes, there are certain circumstances when we're going to want to, access one particular femme to feel the resonance, but really moving through this day and each day and being aware of, have I touched on these? Am I allowing these to move through me? Am I really moving through the awareness of who I'm called to be today? Am I moving into the enjoyment? Am I connecting with my Frenchie and feeling a level of sensuality and beauty and pleasure? Am I allowing myself to, again, am I allowing myself to do the thing that matters the most to me today? Because a lot of women misunderstand the New Yorker and they think, oh, this is just going to be all business. What am I going to do? Am I get the client? This kind of energy. And it's not this energy. It's being able to connect with what is the most aligned thing for me to do today. It might be call your mother. It might be prune the roses, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be a business task. We forget the things that are holding energy for us inside, and we can have a tendency to put them off thinking we just have another day. So once you really activate the New Yorker, you feel this deep connection between the intuition of the indie, the opportunity to enjoy whatever that is that you're moving through, and that courage in the New Yorker to move into the aligned action, even if it looks like on the outside it's not going to bring the money, or it's not going to, like, really following that. This is what builds upon the compounding effect of a beautiful life starts with a beautiful day.
Thank you for clarifying that. Because as I said, I have not gone through your programs. I'm only going through my own assessment of it. And
Yeah, and it's good for me to hear too, because there are so many nuances of it, and it's not like there's no way to get it wrong, right? It's here to support women in whatever way they intimately and uniquely connect. And yet I share that with you because also it's so much more than just like a cute idea. Do you know? It's like really a way to experience more of who we are. I'm still, Kim, to this day, like honestly in awe of how this has supported me to create the life that I live. I'm so incredibly grateful.
it's beautiful. How do you work with women now? Do you work one-on-one? I know you have some online programs, but I don't know if you are working individually at this time.
So I have closed my private one-on-one practice after doing this for quite long time. So right now we have the Femme Design Assessment, as you shared, where women can, figure out which Femme type they're predominantly operating in. And then we have our Femme Flow List that teaches women how to move through the day in that way that really will honor their unique femmes. And we have gorgeous programs. We have our Lean Back and Live You Fully program. We have our Embodied. We have so many programs to meet women wherever they are inside of what they're wanting to experience and express on this journey, for sure.
And
Yeah.
what is your website? Let's tell everybody in case they're auditory listeners.
Yes, elegantfemme.com. So that's easy. I'm sure we can pop that link in there somewhere. And then on Instagram, it's Tara Marino, or elegantfemme.ef. But we do have a special link for your audience as well, Kim, for the Femme Design Assessment. So super easy, just elegantfemme.com/Kim. If anybody would like to get their quiz results and see which Femme type they're predominantly operating in, and just begin to learn more about the Femme types. And the essence of everything inside of Elegant Femme is that our desires are the impetus to our spiritual evolution. So trusting ourselves with our desires, trusting ourselves with beauty, trusting ourselves to receive and allow life to move through us, no matter what's presenting itself, whether it's something that's really good, because we have a tendency to pull away from feeling really, really good, just as much as we have a tendency to pull away from the ache and the pain. So it really is allowing ourselves to stay open to what life is presenting and to receive all of it.
Mm. From two people who love beauty so much, those were really beautiful, beautiful words. And there is obviously no accident that you created this femme, the word femme, your French connection, as it were. Obviously, you were a big part of living in France in past lives, I'm sure. Do you consider Paris your home?
It's really funny. I really do. I really do. Gosh, it's funny because just recently coming back from Paris this time, I was like, oh, I'm home and I'm home and I'm home. I mean, for me, yeah, I mean, I love Paris. I love Paris. I have a deep, deep affiliation with France for sure. I majored in French in college, mastered in French and international business, and I mean, I am completely alive when I step foot there. And I was fortunate enough, as we talked about, to move there with my family. My boys were raised there. They speak fluent French, no accent whatsoever. It's quite astonishing. And they've continued. They both still speak French. They have French friends. It's like they land back in the city, and they take off just right there. So I love France, and I was also blessed to have a fashion show inside of Paris. I've had two fashion shows on the runway in Paris. And as we touched on a little bit, it's really the expression of the femme types. It's bringing consciousness into the clothing. And there's clothing that's specific to the indie, which is really soft cashmere pieces and joggers and just stuff that you want to live in. And then there's lingerie pieces for the Frenchie. And we have a beautiful Frenchie cowl neck dress, which is just so easy to wear. It's like the perfect little black dress. And then we have our New Yorker panties, which are a little structured. And it's just such a beautiful expression for me to bring the femme types to life and to play in the arena of fashion. I mean, I love it so, so much. And it's actually why I've brought more of my life coaching to completion at this stage of my life, so that I can pour myself more into the fashion, because I love it so much.
We are going to stay tuned for that. Do you have a specific name for your brand? And it is the
Yes,
no.
it's Tara Paris. The fashion line is Tara Paris. And that's where right now we have a waiting list because we are sold out of everything. So we are getting ready to launch a new collection. I just got back from Italy, and we have some beautiful things coming. So if anyone wants to be notified when the next pieces drop, we have that. Everything's just really created in beautiful small quantities. I know the manufacturer. I meet with the families in Italy. I see everything being woven. Like, it's really important for me to be intentional about all of it and to carry the essence of Elegant Femme through everything that I do. I feel like the energy that we infuse into the clothes when the women wear them. I mean, inside of every piece, there's a little tag that says, "I am beauty." And it's not for anyone else to see. It's just for the woman to see. And then we have our Trois perfume, which is sold out as well. We're ready to relaunch that. But yeah, I think one more thing. I know I'm talking a lot. I'm really excited. One thing I'd like to say to everybody listening that you and I talked about a little bit in the beginning is, I don't believe you have to choose one thing in life. One of my coaches early on, one of my mentors said to me, "Tara, are you a coach or are you a designer? You have to choose. And I was like, no, I do not. I'm not choosing. And this is what I think is also so beautiful about the Femme types. It supports us in expressing all of who we are. We don't have to choose, right? Whatever our desires, whatever our expression, like whatever's calling us, like go for it, you know?
Beautiful. Well, we talked a little bit about that. I love that. I love that you don't have to pigeonhole yourself because we are all unique individuals and we have so many assets and aspects of ourselves that shine through on different days, different months. So I love that. Tara, thank you so much for your time today. I feel blessed to have had your light and beauty in front of me through the airwaves. I know everyone will be really absorbing it when they listen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like I've been watching your, on the Instagram and just your way of play and fun and your integrity with what it is you're bringing forward into the world. I want to thank you as well. Truly, it's been an honor to be here and I see you. So thank you for everything that you're pouring out into the world, the fun, the elegance, the reminder that it's never too late. It's just really a stunning vibration and frequency that we all need to be reminded of. So thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. Well, goodness, I'm blushing, but thank you everyone for tuning in. Of course, of course, of course, as always, I am so grateful. And of course, if you would give us a 5-star rating, that would be 5 in French. So I would be so appreciative so that we can really share the light because the more people that listen and tune in, the more something is going to be ignited within them so that they can shine their light. And that gives all of us permission to share and shine our own. Thank you, Tara. Thank you for beautiful listeners because you're all beautiful. I do hope that you will go out and enjoy this day and find the beauty in yourself and in each moment. Thank you for shining.
Thank you, Kim.